2, 1. Howdy folks, Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here with your tropical update for May 20th of 2019. Now you're thinking, you're going, hey Nick, hurricane season hasn't even started yet, and you're right. However, right now the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye out for what may become Andrea out here. Of course, next on the list is Barry. Now you may be saying, well Nick, where is this? I haven't heard anything about this quite yet. Well, it's this little cluster of stuff that's hanging out just off to the north and east of the Bahamas. It's kind of drifting off to the north. Now, in the Gulf of Mexico, we're nice and quiet back around here. Nothing really going to bother us for the next couple of days. Out into the open Atlantic, we're still way too early to be talking about stuff out here. But we are talking about Invest 90L, the first one of the year. The National Hurricane Center has sent out the hurricane hunters in coordination with the Air Force, and a 70% chance of development through the next 2 to 5 days. Now things are going to become really unfavorable for this thing come early next week, so it's got kind of a short window. I think day 5 at 70%, okay, but day 6, I think that chance goes way downhill real quick because a cold front's going to come sweeping in. But as it looks right now, you can see it's got one little area of circulation out here, but all of the rest of the convection is back off to the northwest of that. Most of the models, again, keep this thing out to sea. It may bother Bermuda, so if you've got any plans to go to Bermuda this weekend, don't we all, you may run into an extra bout of cloud cover and thunderstorm activity. But notice the models have a reasonably decent handle, or they think they do, on this thing as we head through Wednesday night at about 5 o'clock, and then out to sea it goes. It gets picked up by the next cold front that's going to come sweeping through, and it's going to take it away from us. And in fact, there it is right there by Tuesday of next week, or this week, this week. We're talking about it forming, and then it gets kind of swept away as we head through the rest of this week and toward the weekend by the next cold front. I will say this, a couple of other things to note on here. You see how out into the Atlantic we've got plenty of brown on here. This is, and again, for you guys, I should probably back up. If you're just watching this for the first time, you've never seen this map before, if you're new to the area or you don't remember what this thing is, this is our 700 millibar moisture 850 vorticity map. The brownish, grayish areas that you see in here, just areas of super dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. It's tough to get any tropical development in those kinds of areas. And then the colored areas that you see in here with the yellows and the oranges and the reds, those are areas of low-level rotation, and generally we've set up this map to be where you see those, generally you've got an area of organized low pressure. And when you can see that and it's not covered up by the gray, you probably have a decent shot at getting some semblance of development of something in there. So here we go through Wednesday, and again, as we head through the week, here comes the cold front, swoops that thing away. But man, we've just got so much dry air out here. I love seeing all of this dry air into the Gulf of Mexico. It means that it's going to get, it's really tough to get things going and close to home, which is generally in May and early June where we would look for these things. I will say, as we head through Tuesday of next week, notice, keep your eyeballs on what's happening kind of down here. I'm going to set this in motion, and you see how we end up with something kind of peel off of the Central American gyre. A lot of the models have been pointing to something like that as we head toward kind of the end of May. We'll continue to monitor it down here. The good news is, with stuff happening early in the season, it generally isn't a devastating wind event. However, we do need to keep eyes on these things because they still can be devastating flooding events. So again, not big wind producers, but flooding can do just as much, if not more, damage to an area. So we'll keep tabs on this, but I will say it's kind of out there in voodoo land. It's still a little too far out into the future for us to truly get concerned about. It's just something that we'll continue to have on our radar. So again, there's your tropical update early in the season on May 20th of 2019.